I hope everyone's good. We have been we've been away for about 2 weeks. Good afternoon. And sound is good. Stream seems to be running well. So we're back after 2 weeks of break. Back again with the with the giveaway, of course. And I'm seeing some people dropping in. Already like 20 people watching on YouTube. It's unbelievable. 20 people watching on YouTube. 1 person on Twitch. Amazing. Hey, my friends. Welcome to the stream. Nice that you're dropping in. We are doing some build today. I have brought a lot of parts that I've printed over the last weeks, with some interruption, of course, because we've been on vacation, and so not so many parts already printed, but I think at least good enough to start building the 3D printed printer enclosure from Printable Accessories. I have been talking about this modular enclosure from Printable Accessories in one of the last videos. That's what we're building. And we are building the plus size. That means we're gonna have something that is a little bit bigger and can probably house all of the different Ender printers and even slightly bigger printers, but probably not something that is 300 millimeters large, but it could potentially house a Bamboo Lab P1P if that doesn't have an enclosure yet. So that's what we're building. I already have also the acrylic panels here. So that means we can use it in very much the same way how it's displayed in these images here. And then eventually we can also build the side panels to have some tool mounts and some spool holders. That is something to as an add-on part, but I have so many acrylic panels that we can also build it without any additional tool wall here. So that's what the plan is. I have started as per the instructions with the base elements, and that's what we're gonna start building tonight. But I wanna say, of course, I wanna say welcome to all of you here that are currently joining. So I'm seeing Xyleon, Adonis, William, and Bobby Digital, Alvin Norris, at least a few new faces here that haven't been chatting yet on the channel. Andre 3D, welcome to the stream. Always good to have new faces showing up. If you've not been here on the live streams, I want to make you aware why we're doing so many live streams recently. Because first of all, I think live streaming is something that I can accommodate easier in a way that I can just make them have everything ready to go. We are building stuff, we're having some projects going on. So it makes so much sense to do this in the form of a live stream, because then you can like basically join me while I'm building this stuff and we can have a chat, we can answer some questions, talk about new stuff. And we're doing a giveaway that is currently for June. It's gonna be the Ender 3 V3 KE, and the instructions how to join and potentially win the giveaway are available on Twitch only. So you have to be watching my live streams from Twitch to actually join the current giveaways or any giveaways. And how it works is essentially just watching the stream, and you don't have to do anything besides watching the stream on Twitch. And then you can learn about how the giveaway works, entering exclamation mark giveaway on Twitch, and it's going to tell you all the rules at the Stream Elements website. So basically you just have to watch the stream, and then you collect nozzles, which are our loyalty points. And then at a point of time where we are going to do the giveaway, that's going to be this time, the last Wednesday of June. I'm not aware of the exact date, so it's in 2 weeks, if I'm not wrong. You can use your loyalty points, the nozzles, to enter the giveaway, or also keep your nozzles for an upcoming giveaway. So you can just continue earning them while you're watching the live streams, and then decide how many you want to spend and put into the pot, and then we're gonna randomly draw a winner at that given date. And the good thing is you can, like, even if you're not there, if you have already put some nozzles into the pot, you can still win, but you can only earn the nozzles while watching live on Twitch. That's what I'm also telling people watching on YouTube is, if you want to participate, hop over to the Twitch stream, watch it from there. If you don't have a Twitch account yet, you have to register there, but a lot of people already have Twitch accounts, so just like basically just start watching from there and then you're good. So that's how it works. The 26th, yeah, that should be in roundabout, roundabout two weeks, right? Yeah, that's right. So we still have 2 weeks to go for the giveaway to happen. Tonight again, I want to basically start building this thing, the printer enclosure, and we'll show you the basic elements, how it comes together. So we'll see, you get an idea how this is going to look like in the end. And yeah, just join. Yeah, we have some people joining. Great. Just followed Toxic Father 45. Thank you for following here on Twitch. And yeah, already 90 followers on Twitch. That was basically 0 when we started a couple of weeks back, and now we are definitely making our way to the 100 subscribers or 100 followers. And if you want to support the channel, you can also subscribe. So people already did using their Twitch Prime subscriptions, which I highly appreciate, because you're supporting the channel and you're helping me to make these projects with you together. Also want to mention that the material that we're using here, where's my, here's the stuff that we're using. We don't want to forget that this project, the enclosure build, has been sponsored by 3D Jake. So they have been providing me with around about 8 kilograms of material, silver, red, and blue for different parts of this build. So thank you very much, 3D Jake. I'm also putting a link down in the description, because this material is very affordable, and I've tested it now for a couple of weeks, and it seems to be quite rigid, has basically 0 warping and no issues so far, and a pretty decent choices of color. So that's what we're using for this project. So how this comes together. Hello, Crocodilus and Panpe72, John Fraser. Thank you for mentioning 26. Emmanuel Chester. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. So let me show you. We have two cameras running. We have the front and the top, and we're probably gonna switch to the top view in a second. So I'm just sorting a couple of the parts that we are using. So there is, just getting stuff ready. A couple people mentioned last time, yeah, why would you do such a project? Why such a bulky construction? I think that there's ups and there's plus and pros and cons of this design. Of course, like it has a lot of different parts, a lot of individual parts. The good thing about that is you're very flexible in deciding the dimensions of this build. So you can basically make it like wider, higher, deeper, smaller, however you want. So that's why it has so many little modular parts. And yeah, it's, of course, it has kind of a unique look to it. So you could probably you could build something easier with just using wood. Some people mentioned, okay, they have built enclosures from just wooden panels and some wooden construction wood, and yeah, that is absolutely possible. I think what I like about this design is, like, first of all, it's completely 3D printable, so you might like that, or you must say this is overkill. Of course, 8 kilograms of material isn't also super cheap, of course, so it is quite a lot of stuff. The acrylic panels also. I think it's around about 100 euros of cost for the panels. I would say, like, overall we have like 270-ish euros of cost for this build, but it's also quite large. So if you compare that with other enclosures, knowing, okay, there's also like enclosures that are basically just some fabric, around about 60-70 euros, if you will. So they're very cheap ones, which are just having a zipper and you can put your printer in. But I think it's a completely different story here, because this is very much a rigid frame, and you can attach stuff to it. So we can also have this kind of side panel, and we could, I think there's also these awesome decorations. So if you want to go all that way and say, I want to have something that looks crazy and want to have some either industrial look or this medieval look or some other, like this, there's a couple more different variations of panels, then this is super modular, and you can like basically have, there's no limits to your imagination. And you can also 3D print all of the panels. Don't have to use the acrylic. If you really want to print everything and not use any transparent panels, this is also possible, as you see in this picture. So I think from that perspective, I like it. And then you have these attachability options. So that's why I'd say, yeah, it's maybe not the most cheap option, but it is, it's basically super flexible. How it works, how it comes together is essentially you have all of these individual parts, and then you have connector pieces that hold everything together. And this is essentially 2 nuts and 2 screws going through the connector holes of these parts. We're gonna take a look in a second how it exactly works when we're assembling the first couple of pieces. So, I wanna welcome the people that are just joining, who's new. Jay Fraser, the Slayer, hello. Somewhat's also joining. Yeah, hope you're having a great day, having a great night, or a great morning where you are. So, joining me in this little build video here. Now, from the construction side of things, we're starting at the bottom of this frame, and the bottom pieces are essentially 4 of these corner elements. And I have already assembled one to see how it comes together. And each of the connections is made by such a connecting piece, and that's going to slide over these two walls essentially, and then it's gonna have two screws going through here. I'm gonna do this one more time so you can see how this works. So I have these two parts here. This is one of the like vertical corner pieces. That's how it comes together. And then we have a connecting section here. Basically we have two walls touching and there is screw holes here and we need a connector piece. This is one of the connector pieces and that is just going to slide over here. And that could be it. I mean, I've seen people that are just connecting it like that. I wouldn't do that, honestly. I want it to be more rigid and not falling apart so easily. So what we are doing with each of the connectors, we're inserting two nuts here in these little side slots. And then in the end, we're gonna have bolts going through so nothing can come apart. And that's, in my case, I have, of course, the metric system. The original construction is basically just using inches or non-metric screws and bolts, and that's, for me, it's easier to use the metric version. There is also a metric connector piece. Luckily, they have decided to make these and design different versions for this. And taking a closer look here. So this is the connector part. And there's a little slot here on the side where we can push in an M4 nut using, let me check if we have the right screwdriver. Yeah, we have the right screwdriver. So we are pushing this, we're pushing this nut into the slot. So that's one thing. And then we have a second one. That could also be enough. I mean, you could probably also get away with one, but I'm using two just to be sure that nothing comes apart or nothing is wobbly. I want this to be super, super sturdy. Now the second one doesn't have a convenient slot. Basically it can fall out because it's just like, it's just sitting here in this little cavity. So if you turn it to the, like if you turn it around, it can fall out. So that's why I'm keeping it like that. And I'm just sliding it over the connector part. And that's it. So it's in. And now the only thing that we have to do is using two M4 screws, inserting them here into the two holes, and then we start fixing it. So super easy to do. In the end, nothing is going to come apart and it's going to be super, super stable and sturdy. So yeah, that is done in a couple of seconds. And now this part is one more corner. So we have 4 bottom corners to do, and we have then a couple of connecting pieces. And then we're going to bring everything together. Let me just get a little more space here. I think I have a couple of things that we don't need, for now at least. Yeah, people are already like getting their tickets in. Let me see if I missed something. No problems with storing your filaments like this. Evening got the laser the other day. Many thanks. Yeah, Spine. Spine was winning the laser engraving machine last time we had the stream. So I think he didn't have actually so many tickets in. So it was, again, we had I think this was actually the second time where we had someone winning who didn't have so many tickets. So it doesn't mean having so many tickets that you definitely going to win. This is not the case. That has been proven wrong. So yeah. So thanks a lot for following. Oh my goodness, so people are subscribing. Silent, thanks for the resub. My goodness, you're 2 months already. 2 months already. Commander Derb, thanks for the follow. Jay Fraser for the follow. Sean Yem, thanks for the follow. And Sonjem also subscribing with Primes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's so much appreciated that you're supporting me here on the channel. so I can make these videos and talk to you guys. Honestly, we had a really interesting time here in Germany last weeks, especially the previous weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend before. There was a lot of rain in Germany, especially in South Bavaria and also in the southwest, even more. And we had flooding in a lot of the areas in South Bavaria and South, Swedish, something like Baden-Württemberg, if you know that. So that's the southwest and the middle south of Germany. And there was so much rain, and it was raining for a couple of days non-stop, really, like even at day, during the night, it was raining and raining and raining. And so the surprise for or shouldn't have been a surprise actually, but small rivers actually started to become bigger and bigger. This wasn't that big of a problem with the German, the huge rivers that are pretty much having flood control. But there was huge problems with the small rivers in Germany that started to go over their boundaries basically and flooding the little villages where they are going through. And we were super lucky that we weren't affected so much, at least like in the lower part of the village where I'm living. We had some houses on the water, and the street was closed for at least one day because the river bridge was like in danger of being flooded away, like just washed away. So that didn't happen, luckily. So we still have the bridge. That would have been very, very much unfortunate. A huge problem would have been if the bridge got lost, then the connection to some other parts of the area would have been impossible. But yeah, so we have been lucky. We had some groundwater issues, though. That was quite of a dangerous situation for some of the houses. People didn't realize that the water that they had in the basement that was just suddenly coming from, I don't know, open like vents or like just through the walls, that wasn't actually surface water. It was groundwater, and people started pumping out the groundwater. And the problem with that, if you have ever been affected by this or you haven't thought about it, if you pump out groundwater, then your basement floor, the basement floor, basically the ground floor, can break, because if you're pumping out the groundwater from the house, you're creating, or you're removing the pressure of the water that's like basically pressing against the house walls from the inside, right? So you have water on the outside, the groundwater that's under the house, and then you are pumping out the water inside of the house, and then you have pressure coming, like the pressure is building up against the ground floor. And some people in Germany had issues with their ground floors getting cracks. So that's why we were super lucky that we didn't have that much of a groundwater problem. It was coming up. We could see it in the revision shaft, but it wasn't severe. So we got away, but some others weren't so lucky. So that's like the topics that I have been dealing with for at least the previous weekend. Not this weekend, but the weekend before. Yeah. But I hope that you are good and nothing happened to where you're living. In the UK, yeah, it was raining also quite a lot. I think you had some flooding going on in the UK and some areas, but Germany was kind of unusual flood, an unusual amount of flooding going on this year. So, corner number 4 is done, and I see I have probably printed one element too much. I don't know why. Maybe I just wanted to test it out. So I wasted some material, obviously. And yeah, it's nothing so bad. Hope that we're gonna have enough material in the end. I had some wasted material. I've made a little short video yesterday and published it today. Had some problems with the printers, but that got resolved. So still wasted some material. Now you can see this is basically the corners of the frame are done. And what we're now doing is we're attaching the middle segment. So each side gets basically two. Hope I printed the right amount this time, at least here. This is. Why is this? Why? How many parts do we need? I think we have one part is still on the printer, I guess. That must be. We can double check how many we need. There is a frame build instruction. Oh, we need actually 3 elements per. Oh, it's even bigger. My goodness, I did forget how big this thing is going to be. It is actually. It's actually 3 elements in between, so we need more space. So this is. I decided to go with the bigger version, so I have to deal with it now. So this is. Oh my goodness, this is actually quite large. So this is the actual size. Hope this is not falling. This is the actual size, and I'm missing one piece. Probably we'll have to. Hope I did attach the right one here. Did I? So, on all of the corners, we have the right. Ah, yeah, I used the wrong part. That was an oversight. So this one is actually not supposed to be here. This is why I have one left. This is the wrong part. It looks very similar. It just has this little side element that was missing. It just looks a tiny bit different, but it's not so obvious. Let me get the screw out. Come on. Come out. Come out. Oh, maybe. Here we go. So this looks very similar, but it doesn't have this little side stand. So that's the right one. So that explains why we have a leftover part, but now we're good. We have exactly the number of parts we need for the face. So you see how big this is going to get. I can tell you it is about how much. Let's measure this quickly. So the outer dimensions are going to be, let's see, round about, how much is it? 68 centimeters is going to be the outer size. And the inner size is, I think, 10 centimeters less, so 58 inner dimensions for the frame. So we can fit basically all of the printers in there, from the Ender 3, V3, a Sovol SV06, or even a Prusa. You could reduce the size at least in one of the dimensions, if I'm not wrong. I think you could make it a little bit more narrow, still fit in. But the problem is with the bed slingers, especially with the bed slingers, you have this problem that the bed is going outside of the frame. Actually, it's going to the back. So it's like hanging over the frame, and then even if it's moving forward, it's also hanging over the frame. So it actually consumes a lot more space because of the bed slinger mechanics. And that's why the actual enclosures have to be bigger than the printer when it's not in use. That's a little unfortunate. So it makes it, that's even another reason why coreXY is sometimes the better choice if you have limited space and you don't want something, you still want something enclosed, like this one here, the K1C. That is, yeah, very, very compact compared to the bed slinger if you put a case around it. But still, I think I can imagine that this can also be super well suited for doing resin printing, which is another thing that I want to try out this year. So resin printing, I've kind of avoided for a couple of years now, but with this kind of enclosure, I can imagine we can just put in the resin printer. We can also put in, at the same time, we could also put in the washing machine in parallel, side by side. And we just put it in and we have some ventilation in this case. So it's, for me, this is super flexible solution to do all kind of 3D printing that requires ventilation. So let's see. What kind of filament did you print the frame with? So in my case, I decided to go with PLA. It is the type of PLA is Eco PLA, so 215-ish degrees of printing temperature, and it should be good enough. The temperature of like inside of the frame or inside of the case is normally not going beyond 40 degrees Celsius. And if you put in a ventilation, you can also control the temperature much better. So I've seen this on the X1 Carbon and also on the K1C, that the inside temperature, even when printing at 250 degrees, it doesn't really go beyond 40 degrees Celsius or 45. So it's like still lower than the melting or the glass transition temperature of the material. So I shouldn't be worried about any warping. Of course, you can also use other material, like I wouldn't necessarily use PETG. That's a little bit too flexible in my opinion, or you could use EBS. But I think ABS is an overkill for this kind of thing. Yeah, but however, you can use also other materials that are more temperature resistant, but I don't think that this is going to be an issue. My friend is doing the setup for Glastonbury. He says it's okay, they're not too wet. Yeah, it's good to know. I mean, I hope that everyone is fine. If you have ever been affected by flooding, you know what I mean. This is not funny. Water is actually the worst. Like if you have any thing that can happen to your house besides fire, that's definitely the water. But let's say if in case of the likeliness of things to happen, if you think about it, fire is very unlikely most of the time, but it's like flooding and rain and storm and hail and stuff like that can always happen. Like it can happen any day. The probability for that is much higher now. It's becoming even worse. So, and water is really a huge issue. We had some leakage actually. Some water pipe was leaking the other day, just dripping tiny amounts to the basement floor in my workshop, and I had some cardboard boxes on the ground and it all got soaked up with the water. That was actually good because then it kept the water from going a lot like wider into the basement, and we realized it early enough. So just had a couple of cardboards to throw away, but that also teach me that I want to put everything on like at least 10 centimeters above the ground level using either some stands or some racks. So if anything happens, we always have this like 10 centimeter of buffer between anything and the ground. So if at some point something leaks, you still can react and get stuff out and dry stuff up. And yeah, that's what I'm at least trying to do. $90 for the STL. Yeah, that's I did forget about that actually. I did it. Sorry, I had the Kickstarter campaign where I got it for I think 30 or something. It was fairly cheap. I also realized that there is other alternatives now. I think some people took the design and were creative. So it is not, it's not something super secretive, honestly. They didn't rip it off, but they created similar things. Modular things are available already. So I think the inspiration was good, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I wanted to support the creator in the beginning because I think it was a great initiative, and they have been coming out with new stuff since then. They have created some board game storage solution and some other like storage solutions for different things. So they took it even further and created even more like different products from it. And if you're into this and you want to support them, feel free. I'm putting the link down in the description. I'm not affiliated with them, so this is just my personal opinion that this simply works, and it's yeah, I would say it's fairly good. Plywood is, of course, you can also use plywood and build something. That's again, I think people have been mentioning it last time. Of course, you can always try alternative materials, and it's totally a solution worth looking into. I would more likely say that having an enclosure for your 3D printer is definitely worth it. And some people have been asking, do I need an enclosure for PLA printing? And that is, yeah, I mean, why would you need an enclosure for PLA printing? Because normally you don't. And one of the side effects of having an enclosure is not only like that it is potentially making your printer more silent. So you could eventually, like if you have it in a workshop and you're sitting next to it, or you have it in an office, don't put it in your living room, or maybe living room, but not into your sleeping room. So that is something that won't work. Honestly, that's even with an enclosure, I would never put any of my printers in my bedroom. Not even the ones with carbon filters and stuff, because you always have either you have noise or you still have some odor that smells. So I would never do that, honestly. It just simply doesn't make sense, right? So unless you only have a one room apartment and you have no other choice, but then still I would try to avoid being in the same room when the printer is running. So having an enclosure can like at least reduce the noise level of the printer a tiny bit, not like crazy, but a little bit. And then you can also, and I think that's the other, I'd say, side effect or positive thing, you can ventilate out anything that smells, right? So even PLA, if you do excessive PLA printing, that I have been doing it for the printer, like the computer case project. I've been printing 130 computer cases in PLA material, and I can tell you, if you have 10 printers running in the same room, it's very apparent that even PLA stinks, right? So it's not that it doesn't create any gases or something. There is still stuff going into the air. There's going to be some smell. There's going to be some how's it called, TVOC, so like materials or like particles in the air. And even if you just have one printer running, having some ventilation can be healthier, I would say. And then another side effect of like having the enclosure for PLA is that some PLA still tends to warp. It's probably just minimal, but the enclosure can help you. Let's say it's very cold in the area that you're working with. So you have it in a garage, for example, and you want to print PLA in your garage in winter. When it's winter, then the enclosure will definitely help you to avoid any failures, because if it's too cold outside in the area that you're using the printer, then it still can fail, right? So it can detach because it's too cold. So definitely worth thinking about an enclosure even for PLA printing. Long story short, oh yeah, William is mentioning that he has made different combined steel and plastic cabinets for various projects. So maybe check it out on the Discord. So shall we take a look? I'm curious. Let me see what you posted there. Let's take a look. Let's bring it up. Where did you post that? Where did you, in the project showcase? Okay, so let's show that. Let's show that. So let's not use the music here. Sorry. That looks quite decent. Yeah, nice. Nice one. Nice one. I think it looks like the frame is metal, isn't it? So that looks very much like the Prusa enclosure, very similar. I think Prusa just announced an enclosure for the Mini. I still have the Mini here, so I was kind of tempted, but now since I've been building this, we can also just build a smaller version of this for the Mini. No problem there. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. What do we have in the chat? What's going on? So Spline is going to use the laser to cut a plywood enclosure for one of my printers. I would be super happy if you could put those pictures, if you're doing this project, if you're actually making something with the laser engraver, just put it in our Discord in the project showcase. I'm always so happy to see people posting what they're doing with their printers versus just like printing, I don't know, stuff that is for the shelf, so to say. I'm a huge fan of functional prints. Like, I mean, my most prominent example is definitely the computer case project, which has been a huge functional project. Thousands of hours. I've made some calculation at some point. So every single case has it's thousands. I guess like north of 1,000 hours of printing, if you will, because every single case has around about 80 hours of printing. So if we printed 100, round about 120, and yeah, so quite a lot of printing hours went into this project for a customer, and so I can probably claim that I'm more likely into the functional printing side of things. But I'm also sometimes testing stuff and testing out new printers, and then I'm using something. If I don't have a project going on like this, which I definitely want to be more, I was at least printing stuff like vases and some statues, but honestly, I try to avoid it as much as I can because I think it's just a waste of material, and things are most likely going to be in the shelf or even throwing them away at some point, because I have so much stuff basically that is not being used, and then you at some point you're thinking about it, and like the material wasted and the environmental issues coming with that, or recycling is still a huge problem in Germany. At least not many companies are there that are going to recycle your plastic to new filament. And I have been using one company for at least last years, and now they are making it very, very difficult to send stuff in because they are essentially, they just have too much, right? So there's just too much waste coming in, and so they restricted us from sending. And now I have to think about alternatives if I have plastic waste. Yeah. What's going on in the chat? Spline is, yeah. You want to print a heat-resistant filament. Makes sense to me if you're like expecting the inside to be very warm. But again, depends on what you're doing with it. I do not expect this to be very warm. So, and we are also not living in an area where it gets very warm. So it's like even in the summer, everything is going to be in the basement. And here we have very reasonable 18 degrees Celsius even in the summer. So from that perspective, I don't expect anything crazy with the enclosure, even at summertime. So I just have to remove a little bit of a support material. Some support is required for printing this. Not much, but a little bit of support is required. Unfortunate, but maybe the design could have been different and they could have avoided this, but that's not what they did. So the rest is coming together. I'd say we just continue with the side panels, or side elements, and we're gonna have a base frame mounted very soon. You will take your waste. I will take your wasted prints. I will take your waste prints. I use them in the products I design and sell. How do you do that? Are you melting the plastic and putting it into forms, or what are you doing with the wasted plastic? I'm curious to learn. What's your project about? So I'm doing the first couple of side elements, or middle sections, if you will, to connect the corners. And there's always like there's three sections between each corner. And then we're gonna see how big this is actually going to be. Quite big. You will see very soon. By the way, don't want to forget to mention, because I've just released the designs this week. Let me see if I can bring it up for you. This week, actually yesterday, I have released new t-shirt designs. This one is actually an older version that has still a different font. So I switched to a new font, which I like a lot more. And the new t-shirts have been released this week, so you want to check them out. I'm gonna show you the new designs. Tell me how you like them. I found a pretty a really nice font that I really love. So there is the red one. Let me bring it up. Can I enlarge it for you a little bit? Maybe this way. So this is the new version of the t-shirt. The font is a little bit different. It's a little bit inspired by the NASA font, which I liked a lot. So I'm probably going to make this my new logo font. The old one that was created in 2018, I didn't find the font anymore. And in the Photoshop file, I think it's linking to a font that is not, that I don't have anymore. And I got the design from a designer. And so I decided I need a new font for the logo and went for the NASA style font. This is the black one, the black shirt. I'm gonna get a couple of samples soon. And then we have the second one, which is using the same font without the logo in red. So these are gonna be my signature t-shirts for the rest of the year, just to let you know. Tell me how you like them. I'm gonna definitely give away a couple of t-shirts soon. So I'm gonna let you know when this is gonna happen. But they're available in the shop at since yesterday. So we have one connecting piece mounted. The second one is going to be mounted right here. So you see, once you get used to it, it gets even easier and easier, and just sliding the parts together. Just a matter of seconds, and then you're good. The only thing here that is a little bit of an issue sometimes is the nut. The second one, at least, that's a little bit easy to fall out, but if you are holding this in the right orientation, this is actually not going to happen. So another one coming up. Number 3 on this side. Then we have the corner already. I say the mounting system is actually pretty clever because you have almost zero need for printing supports. So the perfect thing would have been if there would be 0 supports, of course. So Spline is telling us shredding the prints and use them in cast resin products. Oh my goodness, yeah, send me a link, or you can send the link and I'm gonna post it here. Send it to me, or you can send me a private message on Discord, and or yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Why? So yeah, it's great to hear that you're recycling stuff, because it's always the thing with 3D printing. If you're doing a lot of projects, having some waste material is probably unavoidable. So even if you're trying to not make any mistakes, if you're trying to set your printer to the right settings, get everything right, still the probability isn't 0 that you're gonna have some fails. And over the last weeks, I was kind of, my biggest problem is actually currently I have collected a lot of plastic waste, and I have currently no way to get rid of the stuff. At least not besides putting it in the usual, like in the normal trash, which I do not want to do. Right? I mean, this is possible, and of course they will take it and put it into the, I don't know where they're gonna put it, to be honest. Maybe they're gonna recycle it, maybe not. They could also just put it into the heating fabric, so just burn the material. Essentially it's gonna be in the power plant. It's gonna be put in the power plant, and the power plant is just basically just burning the plastic together with some other stuff. So yeah, this is not the solution that I want, to be honest. I want the stuff to be recycled properly, and ideally to get some filament out of it to buy, so we have a full cycle, right? So this would be my ideal, the thing that I really want. So this is the first element. The first is connected, and this is one of the bottom parts, right? So now we're going to do this in the other direction. This is going to be difficult. The table is actually not big enough, or yeah, just big enough to hold this. And I also realized that at some point probably have to switch the direction of this connector piece so I can screw from the other direction. This is probably not the best orientation that I chose, at least for this one here. Can't really reach in. So we need some hex driver a little bit shorter. So maybe you can still tighten this up, and then next time we're gonna choose. Where's my screw here? Here we go. Not so easy. So I should have turned this connector piece. So next time, I'm gonna do it different. There we go. Is this the right one? Should be. Okay. I think we can get it done. Fine. So one part is finished, and we're gonna just continue here. Which one? Which orientation? This orientation. No. What? What am I doing wrong? Ah. This is actually the vertical one. Just should be keeping the right orientation. Good. How are you guys doing? Did you post the link? Spline, did you post it on Discord? Maybe private message there. I don't know where you did. You do it? You could post it on Discord. Not sure if you send it. Why did you send it? I don't know. Didn't get anything from you yet. So if you want to post that link, if you want me to post that link. By the way, Noems456, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that. Yeah, general section. Okay, we're gonna switch over to Discord general section. Here we go. Here we go. Copy this. Copy the link. I'm probably gonna use your Instagram. Yeah, that makes the most sense, I guess. So that's Spline's Instagram with his projects that he's doing with recycling material. That looks quite interesting. So check it out. I've seen similar things. People are like melting plastic into forms, and they basically just use that to recycle any kind of plastic that they got. That's interesting. Definitely worth checking out. So we are continuing with the build. So let's connect the next part. So I'm trying to do this without. I think the the nut falling out. This is, maybe it should have been a little more tight here to not having the nut falling out, but we can make it work. As soon as you have this in position, it cannot fall out anymore. So let's just connect that. Number 1. Number 2. I mean, that works easy enough. So next connector. And it's growing and growing, becoming bigger and bigger. Yeah, one thing I did not want to forget, honestly, I was just about to prepare the next part. Just checking out what kind of print settings I use to print the elements. So I wanted to check, did I change anything here? We are printing all of the parts, by the way. This is something that I don't want to forget to mention. If you remember, I have been opening and testing the Ender 3 V3 in one of the last streams. And I said, okay, I'm not going to, I mean, I could have gone and printed all of these parts on my fleet, essentially, just put it on 5 printers, printed super fast. Instead, I decided that I will print all of the parts for this project on the Ender 3 V3 using a 0.6 millimeter nozzle for like speeding up a bit and testing out the new nozzles essentially. And so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But it's so far it works quite well. So it seems that I don't get any huge issues with this printer. And this is the top corner that we're going to print next. Just want to create a new project. No. Just checking out the print settings, but it was the same. So we can print this 4 times, and you can see the parts are pretty large. So you see this only fits one of the corner elements per build plate. So that is a fairly large part. And if you print this, you see we have to print this 4 times. Yeah, I see where we are going here. We do not want any brim, and have to double check if we need any kind of, we need some support here. Don't forget that. We have one little corner. No, don't. We have a little corner here that needs support. This part here, which is floating, so we want to paint. We want to paint the support manually. And you see I'm not using Creality print anymore, since this is now supported by Orca Slicer 201 beta is the version that is supporting the printer natively, and it is using the Clipper directly. It's like talking to Clipper from here, so we don't have to copy this file to the USB stick. We can print directly, and we're using Mainsail and Moonraker to do the remote printing, which is a little bit of a modification that we did in the last live stream. So just a simple script to run on the printer, and then you can basically use it from Orca Slicer. So here we go. This is the next thing to print. Top corner 4 times. And we should be able to see it happening here. While I am doing the next part, you can already see at least the beginning of the print, because the print time was, oh, it's not supposed, like, why is it not uploading the print file? Connection timeout. Most likely printer's IP address is different now, which is definitely possible. I didn't give it a fixed IP yet. So let's check the IP address. That's one of the things that come as a side effect of running this printer without Creality Cloud, that you have to know the IP address. So let's quickly check that out. Ender 3 V3. Here we go. It says a new IP test. Okay, so we can send the print over now. Go again, and it should be starting in any second. Yes, there we go. It worked. You see, things are coming together. So printer is doing its thing with the new part. So we need to print that 4 times. We have another 4 pieces for the vertical piece that is attached to the corner. That's also printed 4 times. And then we have left to print, because I couldn't print them yet, we still have to print 24 connector pieces for the upper section. 24, 2 pieces can be printed on 1 plate, so we have to do 12 more iterations of printing with the printer for the connectors, and yeah, basically like 8 prints for the upper corners, which can take a couple more days to finish. So I'm going to definitely have something to build next week. I hope we can finish the printing until next live stream, at least most of it. Not sure how fast this is going to be. Didn't exactly measure or check out the complete build time, or the print time, but it's definitely going to be a lot of hours still left to print for the remaining parts. So, how are you doing? William Martin, you should talk to Philips 3D Druck if he has the option to convert the PLA waste if you have sorted it into different materials. Yeah, that's definitely the case. I'm like, since I still wanted to use the 3D printing recycling factory, which is the one that is, at least the one that is easy to use in Germany, or easier, but it's not anymore that easy. I am happy to get some alternative. So yeah, thanks for reminding. I will check it out. So let me see. Does this person have a website, or is it something official? Philips. Like, is this a YouTuber? Probably, right? So yeah, I think he has a YouTube channel. I think I saw some videos once, but since I'm not watching the German YouTube side of things so much, probably never really watched a huge amount of the videos of this person. Although they might be actually pretty good, but I'm definitely bookmarking this and checking out his stuff. If he can recycle stuff, I'm happy to give him my material because I don't need it, and I'm happy to see something good happening with it. Awesome! Thank you for the tip. Maybe it's still worth getting in touch with this person since they have a YouTube channel. So maybe we can have some chat about recycling and things around that. So printer is kicking off. I'm gonna like check back in a minute or something when it actually starts printing. So we wanna get this sorted before it falls from the table. We get some space. So we have 3 connectors already, so we need 1 corner Need one corner now to get connected. Just getting the connection orientation correctly. 1, 2, 3, and then the corner. So getting some, it's already getting interesting in terms of the space here. So I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking about where could I actually run this or put it to run some printing. It's not an easy answer, honestly. And one of the annoying things is actually this nut falling out. So maybe I need to, probably I should prepare next time a couple more of these connector pieces with some glue stick or something, that they are not going to fall apart so easily. Or the nuts are not going to, because at some point it's going to get more difficult to hold this frame like this, right? So, I mean, now it's still easy to do. It's still not too huge, but it's going to get very difficult at some point. So definitely need to figure out a better way how to. Why is my screwdriver not? Why is it not magnetic anymore? I think I had it magnetized once. Now it's not magnetic anymore. I need my magnetizer. It is not here. It's in the workshop. So. Tutum Carmen. Hi, welcome to the stream. It took you 3 attempts to join the chat. Oh my goodness. Now, Twitch can be a little bit difficult sometimes. I agree. Spine. I looked into turning and used filament into new spools, but it's very time consuming and not cheap thing to do or easy to make usable filament. That's definitely what's keeping me also from doing any kind of homemade recycling, because it is just not so easy, and especially like you could do it, but like printing consistently with it, it's probably the biggest issue. So I should definitely have someone else doing it. Ian Gillespie, like he made the mistake of not covering the original Ender 3 and came back to it 18 months later to find it covered in dust. Now he's having a problem bringing it back to life. So yeah, that is another argument why maybe an enclosure makes sense. Even if it's just for storing your printer in a safe space and coming back at any point in time and having it ready to be used. That is also the reason why, I mean, you know my workshop, if you've been looking at the videos lately, I have 3 enclosed bamboo labs. So an X1 carbon, a 2 P1S, and 1 P1P, which is still like the original open version. And last year already, there was kind of a sale at Bamboo Lab to get a complete kit for upgrading the P1P to the P1S. So that is definitely a project for the future. So we're gonna do that very, very soon, because the room where the printers are currently like living is quite dirty. I would say there's dust, at least, is coming from the heating system, which is in the next room. And so, and we have a wood pellet heating system. That means we have like dust everywhere, at least in that heating room. And as soon as you open the door and get in and get out, you're absolutely getting some dust from that room into the workshop. And that's why we need to have, like, all the printers that are in this room should be having an enclosure. So that's one thing to do as one of the next projects here. Twitch is a little bit twitchy bitchy. Twitch bitchy. Twitchy bitchy. Any recommended enclosures for an A1? Well, the thing is, it's most likely depends on your budget, I guess. I have been checking out these fabric or plastic enclosures. I don't know what the material is actually. I think I've been looking at them for a while. And I mean, this could be a solution. So I'm just quickly bringing it up so you can see what I mean. So I think enclosure. So these are the ones that I mean. So this is the cheap ones, right? So the basically made from plastic or fabric. You just have the zipper. You can put the printer in. It's fairly affordable, I would say. You can get it cheaper from AliExpress, but I personally prefer 3D Jake. That's like as our sponsor, so they have everything and they ship everywhere. So I think it's a pretty good shop. So this could be one solution for the A1. I don't think that Bambu Lab has like something themselves, but if you look, there's also other enclosures now from other manufacturers, brands. So Snapmaker, that's more like this is like all of these enclosures can also be used for other printers, more or less. They're not super specific. This one here is for the SV08, but this is only working with the printer. I think this is everything that they offer. The rest is just, this is probably just the keywords. So yeah, let's say something like this, fabric version could be a solution. Alternatively to the self-made, I would personally say if you have some wooden panels, some construction wood left over, you can definitely also build something from construction wood and some plywood panels. I think there's tons of instructions how to do that on YouTube and on Hackster. So you will definitely have a lot of inspiration from there. And the one that we're building, I told you already, it is going to be, from my calculation, including the price for the STL files, 300-ish euros. Depends on the material that you're using, but for this one we have, I think 100 euros roundabout for the material, plus minus. We have another 100 euros for the acrylic panels, and then we have maximum 100 euros for the files or some additional pieces like or parts like the screws. So roundabout-ish 300 could get you this one here, and of course if you're going for something else that is at least also 3D printable but doesn't require you to buy the STL files, you can probably also build it for like less money. But yeah, I'd say you can make your choice, and in the end the effect that it has on your printer is probably the same, but this one here is in a way more flexible in a way that you can also like modify it quite a lot, and people are already starting to post these kind of frame modifications, add-ons, attachments, ventilation pieces, handles to carry LED bars, so many things already that, yeah, makes sense to take a look at least. So stay here, don't fall. Come on. so it's getting bigger. Getting bigger and bigger. But you see where this is going, right? So we're making some progress. And it's, in the end, super simple to do, right? So everything fits together. There's very much no question how this works. So this one needs to be connected before we can go. It's a decent size enclosure, absolutely. Cheapest option is a cardboard box. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely an option. Like I've been using this in the very beginning. I had a huge cardboard, used it on the ANIT A8 to print some material. Like I think I tried to print ABS. I wasn't so successful, to be honest, but it is definitely something that can work, right? The AMS and the A1 together in one case, that could be, I mean, for this, like we can definitely try it out, right? We have the A1 is already here. I just didn't have the time to unbox it yet. So this is going to be interesting. How can I orient this now so my connector piece is not falling apart, so my assembly nut is not falling out? This is going to be very interesting. Come on. So we can keep it. We can keep it. Okay, it is working. Oh my goodness. I hope we do not break it. This is more the more difficult piece at some point is not to snap something. I have some trust in the rigidity of this whole thing because we have 0.3 millimeter layers. So I just checked the parts in the beginning when I tested out the print settings. It is super rigid, but I mean, you can still snap stuff if you have too much force. Definitely possible. So we don't wanna risk that. But we're almost done with the frame, the base element, and then you'll finally see the size. And this is going in all directions, so it's equally in length in any direction, but you can definitely make your choice and say, I need something that is like a little bit smaller, or I need more depth because I have a printer that requires that, or I want to have something that's not that deep but higher. So I was thinking actually like this one is the most flexible for my personal needs, because I want to also use it for, eventually want to use it for my SLA printing, which I don't have a printer yet for, but maybe in the future this is going to be a thing. And then I can have some ventilation. At least it's gonna be easier for me. So this nut falling out problem is annoying, honestly. I have to find a better solution for this. Maybe there is a version of this that is holding, I don't know, maybe I can trick it like that. Maybe it's easier this way. Okay, so this is working. The thing is, yeah, I need an enclosure for the SLA printing to ventilate this. And then you can put your SLA printer, so if it's not that large, at least a kind of medium, small-sized SLA printer, and the wash and cure machine together in one huge box. So anytime you need to work with it, you can just like open the printer. Might work, I hope so. Maybe it's not high enough, I don't know, we'd have to test it out. And then put the part directly into the washing machine and basically just open the doors and have still the ventilation is going to be running. So we're not having any as much as, at least as you would normally have in terms of the toxic fumes and odor coming out of this thing. So I hope this is at least, that's gonna work. Let's see, gonna test it out definitely at some point. The other thing is we can still, like, if it doesn't fit or it's too small, we can still enlarge it. Like say, okay, we're gonna add one more element. The worst thing that I have, look, the worst thing that can happen is that I probably have to order a few more new panels, acrylic panels. But yeah, this is, then it's at least not super crazy expensive. It is some money, but we can still keep the acrylics and maybe eventually reuse them or just print other frame parts and build a second. This is all the options. I mean, there's so many choices here. So come on. Stay in there. Okay. You can trick it into staying in the place while using the screwdriver. So, how are you doing, chat? Gotta get you a dressing t-shirt, yeah. So I told you already, maybe you missed that I have released new t-shirts on the weekend. I was back and forth between using the old logo and or not. This one is still the old logo. I have swapped out the font of for the text because I didn't find the font anymore. And I wasn't, it was also not only that, but I also had the feeling that the old font was very much not fitting anywhere, so I couldn't use it on the website, I couldn't use it anywhere, and so I made a decision that we're gonna swap out the font completely. So this is the old font and we have the new font on the new t-shirts. So this is more like the NASA style font, which I like a lot. And yeah, definitely gonna do some giveaways for t-shirts in some of the future streams. But if you want to, then just get them from the link to the store. I don't know if it's already available on YouTube, but I have the link in the video description if I'm not mistaken. Definitely gonna double check if I have it in the video description so you can see and find it. So we are approaching the last connector. This is the bottom part, almost finished. It's really huge. So let's do this. This one is different orientation. Okay, that looks good. How's it going? Looks like a Lego build, yeah. Better solution for the problem with the nuts is probably super glue, or even just hot glue should be working, right? You could even just use some insulation foam and a few reels of duct tape. That's, I mean, anything works, right? So what you want, it is up to you what you want to use in terms of the materials. I think the it's also a matter of personal taste. Like if you want something that just works somehow, I mean, where you don't care so much about how does it actually look like, or is it just functional, or is it modifiable? Can you attach stuff to it? So if you just want something that's super lightweight, like these, like something from construction foam or light foam, yeah, of course that will work. It's really your decision what you want to do with it in the end. So the frame is, the bottom frame is done, and this gives you the impression how high this is going to be, right? This is the, so if you want to print, let's put, I hope this is not going to fall. Let's put some printer next to it so we can like at least imagine better how big this is. Let's use the Ender 3 just to illustrate the size, because it's probably hard to imagine what this is, just for comparison, right? So the spool holder won't fit inside still with the bigger version. So this is the plus size enclosure. Plus size means it is, I think only in one direction, one element is added. So this is by 3 by 3 or 5 by 5, if you will, with the corners. The standard size is, I think, not in both directions smaller, but in one direction it's smaller. I think it's just a little bit more narrow. The depth is still the same. But you see, even with this size, I think it's actually a little bit higher, because there is like, I think the vertical elements are a little bit higher, but still like it's not a huge difference. So it still won't fit the spool holder with the printer. You have to put the spool outside essentially. But you see also, if you look at this kind of printer, it is fairly, like it looks small at the first sight, but then you realize, okay, there is a screen here on the side, right? So it's attached here, so that takes some space. Then you have some cables running here on the side, that takes some space. And even worse, and that's the biggest issue with these kind of printers, if you don't have a coreXY, is the actual depth that is required to run it, because you have this cable, and most of the time the cables are sticking out to the back. So if you don't want to harm the cable or bend it too much, or like kind of push it against something, you want to give it some slack here and some space. So like technically you need some space behind the printer for the cable. More or less depends on the model of the printer, and you can potentially maybe redirect the cable, use a little bit less space. But let's say you don't want to modify the printer and you want to keep it as it is. And in this case, it's actually quite hard to make this smaller. This shows you, okay, here we have already like 10 centimeters additional space behind the printer, and it's already sticking out over the end. And then you push this forward and you see, do you see that? Yeah, you can see it is again like this, like probably 10 centimeters of overhang here. So that's it for your bed slinger, right? So you need, especially for the bed slinger, needs a lot of depth, which makes it not possible, or harder at least, to have a compact enclosure for these kind of printers, right? And just imagine if you have something that is 300 millimeter print size, this isn't even big enough, right? So you need one more element, at least, to fit a 300 millimeter bed slinger in here. But there's no problem fitting, like the K1C fits in here, and there is like space everywhere, right? So that's why the coreXY system is, the benefit is definitely it's not only the print speed, it's technically really a lot of saved space, right? If you want to put more of these printers onto a table, and you don't have that kind of a huge depth available and are kind of limited, and you want to have like 3 printers on a table or 4 printers on a table, then this kind of system, not necessarily this printer, but the coreXY, is giving you more for the same space, right? So this is why I definitely can understand also why this is taking up so much like attention, or why people all do want those printers so much. Don't look into printing that for the Orange Storm, Giga. Yeah, I guess the better, like the Orange Storm, but then you would probably better add some panels to the printer itself, right? To make it an enclosed version. The Orange Storm, Giga. Man, I was actually thinking about this printer lately and was like, man, should I have taken the Kickstarter and should I invest in this printer? And it's so much money still. I mean, this is still, I think the Kickstarter was, even it was cheaper, but still like 2,500-ish euros or something for the printer. And I was thinking about the use cases and who needs that printer, honestly? I mean, unless you print furniture or huge prototypes, I don't see why you would want that. Although it's tempting, right? Like, to have such a printer is of course like not bad, but you need a garage for that. You need a separate room for that, right? So realistically, maybe now, since I have cleaned up the basement, that was also my job for the last week. I completely like removed every stuff from the basement, from the studio that doesn't belong here anymore, that was still leftover stuff from the move and stuff. Cleaned up the whole room, and it's still too much stuff in here. We could fit such a printer in here now, but it's impossible. Like it doesn't make sense. I have better ideas for the space here. So, guys, this is part one. Shows us already we need some space for this. The good part is one of the things that are maybe different between this one and the Prusa enclosure, it doesn't have a bottom. It doesn't have it's not closed at the bottom. So you can theoretically lift it up from the table, take it or put it over the printer, so to say, or take it off. So you don't have to like take the printer out necessarily. You just like put it on the table where it should be. The weight of the printer is on the table, and then you can just put it over the printer, which I think is actually quite clever that they decided not to have a closed bottom or something. I mean, for some it makes sense maybe to have that, but also like maybe it's even the better solution in the end, because you can easily like take it off. It's more flexible in a way that you can just remove it, move the printer to a different location, and then put the cover over again, or just use it for something else if you need to. Let's say I have a printer and then I have maybe the SLA printer and I want to like just move the printer to that printer or put it over there because I need the ventilation to not have the room stinking like crazy. I feel it's more flexible for me. So let's see when it's finished how it works. Let's see if this is actually the case. But that's my assumption, at least, why this makes more sense to me, at least. So what are we doing now? Build a new room. It looked bigger. Well, it is quite huge, right? So it's like, it's not small, my friends. It's not small. The acrylic panels are also fairly large. Oh my goodness, we forgot the printer. But it's doing its job. It's doing its job. It's already like, I don't know how much, 25%? Is it running, or is it just, oh, the video is chopping. Okay, now it's working. But yeah, 25% printed, if I'm not wrong. Is it slow? No, it's just a video stream, right, from the workshop. It's not the printer. I'm wondering why is my sub counter not working? We have 2 new subs today, right? I feel that I should do something every single time we have 5 new subs or something. So I was thinking about it. So what I was coming up last week, I was thinking about what could we do? Subscribers. Subs, no data for 5. Where's my text? Settings, subs, text subs, count of 5. Yeah, here we go. I wanted to have this. So my idea was that we're gonna have so is it reloading? Oh yeah, this is reloading. So we have the giveaway in progress, my friends. This is the giveaway. So 8 people already in the giveaway. 386 tickets purchased so far. Purchased, don't get me wrong, this has nothing to do with spending money. You're spending your time invested in watching the live stream. You know? So this is not buying something. Don't get this wrong. You're just watching on Twitch and you're like getting tickets for free, essentially for the watch time that you're spending here, watching live, and you can decide what you do with the tickets or the nozzles, so to say, that you can use. But again, I would say as soon as we like have 5 subs from people, which is basically just it's not following, but subbing on Twitch means you're either spending your Twitch Prime sub on my channel or you're subscribing for money. I need to do something, so we're gonna have to decide what to do. My idea, what I could do is every 5 subs, I'm gonna donate a free sub to someone. That could be done, or we could run a wheel and we could have some kind of, oh, what's happening? We could also do some kind of wheel and say, there's gonna be something on the wheel like, I have to gift 1 sub, I have to give 2 subs, I have to gift 3 subs to viewers, or something that is painful. So we could like have these kind of choices and say, let's have let's run a wheel every 5 subs, and then we're gonna see what gonna put on a wheel, right? I need the moderators actually to watch that. To remind me of that. So people following and people subbing we should figure out how we count that. So, but that's for something that we're gonna define and run for the next couple of streams. So we have something that is good for you and something that is bad for me. Oh, we need some extra hot, nuts or something. Some extra hot peanuts or something like that. So it's going to be a little bit more painful as soon as you do something. Right? Why don't we do that? Make sure you 3D print the wheel to spin. Yeah, we could put it here on the wall. Actually, we could have it here. I still have to figure out what we do with the wall. I have started printing stuff. Like, the good thing is we can always like reorient things and figure out where we want to have stuff going, like where do we want to put it. I have my foliage, like these electrostatic sheets that I'm sometimes using to draft some ideas. That's not something that we're probably not going to use that in the stream. Then we have my like actually frequently used labeling machine, some replacement labels, whiteboard markers, which should actually be closer to this one. because that's where it belongs. And then we can basically start filling up the wall with stuff. Also wanted to create some mounts for it, or at least some little shelf system, so we can put 3D printed things on the wall. Because I still I have kind of thrown away a lot of the stuff that I printed with test prints. Usually I do recycle the stuff very soon. Still have some stuff left, but let's see. I mean, at least we could have some shelves where we can have some at least nice parts that are from some of the test prints that are really worth showing, or some designs that we want to highlight at some point. So we can put them on the wall in a shelf, or stuff like this, just for fun, right? I mean, this is something that I printed for testing, but I think it's also nice if you could have some of these things at least on a wall. Not too much of that because it's non-functional, but yeah, things like the wheel, or maybe even some kind of monitor to show, I don't know, engagement with the stream. So let's say if you follow, you're gonna see something popping up here in stream, but we could also replace that in terms of not showing it as a overlay in the stream, but we could also just have something happening in the studio, right? So happening in terms of physical activity, or some lights going off, or some, I don't know, screen showing something, right? So that could be something that we definitely could try out. So the giveaway will be done on the 26th, finally. So you still have some plenty of time, right? The noise is important. Well, maybe I missed the point. Rubber strips fitted, so almost completely silent. I'm probably missing where you are with your discussion. Still, do you still have your ANET A8 kicking around? Yes, it is. It is still there. It still lives. At least it exists. It still exists. I didn't turn it on since a couple of years now, so it's maybe definitely, maybe indefinitely, it is something that we could revive at some point and say. I was actually thinking about making a separate stream at some point and say, can we revive the ANET A8? Can we still get it working? Can it still run? I have also the AM8 still in the other room. And yeah, we need to clean it for sure. It's probably covered in dust. So I have, at some point I modified the AM8. So I did a couple of mistakes there. So one of the things that we could do is with the AM8, since that is really in a bad shape now, we could try to take it apart and get it working again. Replacing the dry lens, which was probably one of the bigger mistakes I did, by proper linear bearings again, new linear bearings, higher quality. I also have the Hemera, which is, I mean, think about it, this is like a complete waste on this printer, a super expensive upgrade. So we could upgrade the Hemera to the Revo system and then make that printer at least something decent again, right? So get Clipper on the printer, right? Get a proper screen on the printer for Clipper, stuff like that, or at least get Clipper running on the printer, upgrade the firmware, which doesn't cost us anything, and replace the bearings. Maybe a new mount for the Hemera, because that has also some issues that goes way into deep, but there is some issues with this printer. The printer isn't really working that well. I started using it for some tests and were terrible results, and one of the reasons for that is probably the dry lens. And so yeah, the ANET A8 itself, I have no idea if it's still working. Yeah, and it's a fire starter. Like, not the AM8 is not the fire starter, but that has all kind of security measures installed. The ANET A8, I don't know what to do with it. So let's see. Maybe you need to take it apart and reuse the parts for something else. How's it going? Yeah, I'm just about to ask, like, Alexander, are you here for a giveaway? Oh my goodness, how is it going? The ain't Sean Yam, the ain't his ain't the same, but built at the same time as me. Like it must be around 2018 then, or 2017 or something, right? Yeah. Clipper is maybe something that can rescue this printer. Definitely possible. So the firmware installation is simple enough, and it doesn't require a lot of capacity on the printer and not so much space. So it's actually better than Marlin in that regard. So it uses a lot less memory, and you can drive it from a Raspberry Pi or something. And the AM8, that's what I mean. The AM8 already has a Raspberry Pi 3, but still good enough probably. It has the, what was it? An SKR 1.3, I guess. So with TMC drivers, so actually it's quite decent. Like in terms of the hardware, the only mistake again that I made was probably doing the drylins, and that caused the printer to print inconsistently in terms of the like small movements, especially that got probably the drylins are kind of binding too much to the rails, and that's why I think it doesn't make so much sense. So I have better linear bearings now that we can just replace, right? Tutum Carmen, you have been spending the whole day setting up CCTV and data network in a very big house. So you're still into the security business, right? Yeah, the drylins are not good for the V100 build here. We know that. We experienced that. It was a shit show. So I guess drylins, honestly, guys, it sounds great, the idea, no moving parts, but it is for small movements with like less powered motors, it is not good, not good enough. So not wireless. 400 meters of cable, my goodness, 400 meters. That's a lot. A lot of running, right? So back and forth, spreading out the cables. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but even the 8-bit mainboard on the ANET should be able to run Clipper, right? So it should be fairly, like, probably not that fast, but still able to do it. So we can try that. We can definitely try that. Reviving the ANET A8. Is this really something you want to do? Oh my goodness. Are we doing this at some point? I was thinking about that. So again, but we need the wheel. Like we need the wheel for the back wall to spin the wheel. We need some. I think it shouldn't be so hard to do. From a couple of probably still multi-part prints. But we need to define what we do with it. Like what are the actual things on the wheel? Like what are the benefits or the punishments? And I'm not gonna delete any videos. Like PewDiePie does, like the wheel, when he runs the wheel, it's like, okay, delete the video. Like, okay, if you do that too often, I don't have any videos anymore. So we don't have thousands of videos yet, so we definitely have to do more videos then if we want to delete videos. Okay. Stop spamming caps. Oh, Nightbot's engaging. I was once working in a data center, helping out a friend who was laying some cables into the data center. We were actually we're not doing network cables, we were doing power cables. But I remember that this was the most terrifying thing of laying the power cables into the data center was taking out the floor panels, and then you had the racks like standing there, and then we opened basically a channel in between the racks we opened the ground floor, and then at some point I was like down there and like putting in some cables into the like underneath the racks, and the guy told me, well, don't walk, like don't jump around on the remaining panels on the floor when you have that kind of channel open between the racks, because the panels are actually stabilizing the vertical pillars, so to say. So like they could just collapse. And I was like, it's good that you're telling me this halfway into this. I'm feeling so much better now. Better shouldn't have told me that. Now, man, seriously, I was like, okay, is this going to collapse above me? Is the racks going to fall on me? Am I going to die down here? So, yeah, that was a little bit terrifying. But besides that, everything went well. So nothing severe happened. But like data center floors are constructed, it's not like a grid or something where you have a frame that is like where you have these panels in the frame, but it's really the panels are just set in between pillars. And so if you take out the panel, or if you take out the whole row of panels, there is no horizontal stabilizers going in between. So the panels themselves are actually the thing that is like pushing the floor or holding the floor in place, right? So you cannot take out too many of those panels if you have stuff standing on it. That was a little bit terrifying. You could be giving some filament from a filament rack. That was actually something interesting happening, which I was wondering, and please help me to understand what happened. Please help me. Creality was sending me a package last week. Creality sent me a package and didn't tell me about it. Now, what was in the package? In the package, and no one told me, right, that this package would come. In the package, there was a European power cable. I didn't ask for that. Just like with the Euro plug or German plug here. So there was, in this package, there was this plug and 5 rolls of hyper PLA. I think a couple of black and a couple of white. So why would Creality, without announcing anything to me personally, send me 5 spools of filament and a power cable? I have no idea. So, and they didn't come back to me. So we could give away some filament, by the way. So, but since we are giving away the Ender 3, I'm definitely gonna put a spool in the package if it can fit in. But help me understand, like, why is Creality sending me filament and a power cable? I have no idea. Okay. Hypertoken. I built an ANET A8 for my first printer in 2018. It's heavily modified for safety, accuracy, and rigidity. Never had any issues with mine. Yeah, I think like an unmodified ANET is not good, but if you like replace the frame, ideally probably, or you add at least some stabilizers to the frame, it can definitely make the printer a lot better. I mean, honestly, the first parts that I printed on the ANET A8 were quality-wise, I wasn't unhappy, so to say. In the end, it was quite good. For nowadays, I would say, yeah, it's average. It's below average, but it's also not super worse than other printers. You can definitely make it better. So in a way, the whole frame is still very much a Prusa-like frame, and if you replace that with something like an AM8 frame, can be actually a really good printer. So it's like, you have to put in the time, right? It's more about, are you willing to tinker so much? Yeah, I'm not complaining about this, right? I'm not complaining that Creality is sending free filament. I didn't ask for it, so I decided, okay, we're gonna use it in the giveaways, basically just gonna, maybe that was the intention because someone saw the stream and said, hey, maybe you wanna support the giveaway and you have some spare filament to give away, or you can use it for a project. That was maybe the intention of sending me the stuff, but again, I have no idea, like, was there some specific intention behind that, or was it just, here's some filament and do what you want? I have no idea. I'm gonna ask them because, like, we were in touch with something else, but the thing is, normally they reach out and say, hey, we have this and that, do you want to test that, or blah blah blah, and then I say yes or no, and this didn't happen here, so it's kind of weird. I don't know why. Okay, great. How late is it actually? How late is it where you're living? Like here it is like 11 p.m. I'm still doing great, so it's like good to be here for, like, since we haven't been here since 2 weeks. I don't know. Filament and power cable, that means you have a K2 on its way. I'm not so sure because not really. I don't believe that, honestly, because every single time we have been, like, in contact about whether I can or want to test something, and there is also some kind of expectation in place when this needs to happen, right? So, and I'm not the person, honestly, you have been following me, you see that I'm not the person who gets a printer and at, like, I don't know, 5 days later or 3 days later, there's already a review out, right? And I had companies reaching out to me at some point in the past where they was like, that was like beginning of the month, can you release a video by the 10th of the month? And I was like, well, maybe I could, but it's so little time, and, like, you still need to send me the printer, right? This was like reaching out beginning of the month, and then it takes, I don't know, 3 to 5 days until the printer arrives, and then I have like 5 days to test the printer and make a review, edit the video, and publish. Okay, so that's not me, right? So me is rather the person, like, doing this kind of project here where we have to print 8 kilograms of filament, which is probably never, other people don't even print a kilogram of filament until they make a review, honestly, but maybe, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. But we'll print 8 kilograms of filament roundabout, and then I kind of feel that I can definitely give you my point of view after printing how many hours? I don't know, couple hours. Definitely a reasonable amount of time to print 8 kilograms of material, right? So it is, then it's gonna be, like, probably reasonable to say, I have been using this printer. I know what fails with this printer because I had some failures already, which were understandable and sometimes my own fault, but you get to see all of the stuff and see, okay, this is what can happen. This is what can happen. I also managed to destroy one of the nozzles by my own mistake, right? So by this, like, during the disassembly of or taking out the nozzle. Yeah, stuff like that, right? Stuff like that happens, and you get to see that you might not see. Like, for example, swapping out a nozzle is not something that you usually do in a review, right? Not really. But here I wanted to do it specifically because I wanted to print in a different nozzle diameter, and I wanted to test out the new nozzles and stuff like that. So don't want to brag too much about this or put myself in such a good light. But honestly, I think it's proper to use the stuff. And that's why some companies are probably hesitant and say, yeah, but this is not fast enough for us. We want to get this review out. And that's why I also refuse a lot of things and say no, because the expectations are sometimes so weird that say, okay, it doesn't make sense for me. And I don't want to disappoint someone. Honestly, then I'd rather not get it or buy it myself and test it and then later on make it. But yeah, honestly, that's how it is. and I don't care too much. You need to 3D scan yourself and make a few copies, and then you can do it in 5 days. But yeah, that's the point, right? The point is, my goal at least, is that I want to make some projects. I want to focus on projects that I actually want to do, like this enclosure project now. And so I have a reason for myself why I want to use the printer. And if I have no, let's say I had zero project, I would have a harder time to test the printer, because then I would have to print something for no reason, right? So some wasted material, which I did do in the past. I'm guilty of that, honestly. I want to avoid that, at least for the future. And yeah, or the back wall project, right? So that was a huge project. Like that was like 225-ish, I don't know, I forgot how many panels that were. And oh no, it was like 25 kilogram of material, 25 kilogram of material printed on the bamboo printers. That taught me a lot about my bamboo printers. For example, how to use all of the print volume and how to run it 24/7 and how to print 25 kilograms of filament and what can happen, right? So wasting some nozzles and wasting a complete belt and replacing a belt on the printer taught me how to do that. That's the project that you need to figure out if something really works. It would be really interesting if you were to design your ultimate printer. Well, that's the, oh yeah. That would be actually the dream project, yeah. Not too far from what I tried, right? So it's like, I mean, honestly, designing, okay, maybe not designing. Designing is maybe the wrong word. But I think from a technical point of view, like in terms of building a printer from scratch, from zero, and already starting to modify some parts and making some customized things on the printer, the V100 project was actually quite interesting, because I think from my point of view, I started to understand much better the coreXY concept, like how it actually works, how these things work together. I don't say that this is not possible with another 3D printer, but if you have to build it completely yourself, right? Every single part, print out yourself, all of the mechanics, and then like also getting some like difficulties that you have to overcome with the motion system. You learn so much about that. And then the next thing was the Voron. I think the Voron is it's a really nice printer. It's probably highest quality of engineering in terms of things that you can do or thoughts that have gone into that. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's already pretty close to being like, okay, always striving for the best solution, always striving to improve. Every iteration has some pretty clever improvements. If I'm like, that's just my personal take on it. Like, and so a bigger Voron, for example, the Voron 2.4, that would be already like a first step. Like I would be super interested to build that, to learn even more about how to print your really own 3D printer, already starting to customize some stuff and maybe replace some of the things with other parts that are better or performing better, higher flow rate nozzles and stuff like that, or better cooling and or external cooling, the how's it called, PCAP or something. So like having a blower fan or a turbine versus having fans on the hot and stuff like that. So I think that is like very much getting to the point of what is your perfect printer is probably, it's not definable yet, but it would be something that prints super fast and can print all of the materials and has clever software that is able to, I don't know, has some AI, make some decisions based on errors that it sees or detect failures, swap filament, so multicolor printing. I mean, there is no limit, right? You could like add more stuff to this. Has a filtration system, has like this air quality control, has this kind of magnetic sensor that swipes over the surface and measures out the whole surface in a couple of seconds without touching it and stuff like that. So all of the stuff, if you would add all of that together, you would have a printer that costs you, I don't know, probably 2,500 euros, even more, with like the best parts, the best motion system, the best hot end, just the best. Yeah, but we have to start somewhere, right? So we have to, I don't know, I don't have that money left at the moment for such a project. So I would have to sell a lot of stuff beforehand. That could be a solution, right? Selling every other printer and just starting from scratch, right? Just starting from scratch, selling every single printer. I was actually thinking about that, right? Currently we're giving away a lot of the printers because I think you guys just deserve it. And honestly, the other side of the story is I don't want to become a hardware seller, right? So the good part about companies sending you stuff is you get the stuff for free. However, my wife was getting angry at me because I had 15 printers in the basement recently before I started to give away the stuff. So, and I did not want to become a hardware seller. That means if I would start like selling the stuff like crazy, first of all, I would get like kind of tax issues and also like warranty, right? You are the seller, right? So you cannot like at some point, eBay doesn't believe you anymore that you're selling this as a private person. So they start assuming that you're a company, and at that point also people will point out and say, hey, you are not doing this. This is not private. You're doing this as a company, right? This is business, what you're doing. And so people start like claiming or sending you back the stuff, right? I had that happening. Someone said, it's not working, so I want my money back. And so the thing is, I don't want to deal with that, right? I just do not want to deal with that. I am not going to be a hardware seller. That's just the whole thing. So if someone gets something from me, they either not going to pay because I'm going to give it away, or I'm going to kind of work around this thing and maybe find a way. But at the moment, I just have to get rid of some stuff, and I have to get rid of it in a way that I don't have to care about people claiming it's not working or anything. I don't care, right? So that's the downside of getting stuff sent to you. You have to get at some point running out of space, and you have to get rid of the stuff. And getting rid of stuff is actually not that easy. It's easier to just give it away for free than selling it. Selling is always time consuming, right? You have to list it, you have to send it, you have to eventually maybe take it back, or you have some people, I don't know, complaining and say, but this doesn't work, or I don't know, I want some reduction here, I want some money back, and I had all of that happening. It was a shit show at some point, so I stopped that. Good. I have 2 printers and 1 husband, definitely not compatible. So, nice one, nice one. You think different color filament would burn different color flames? Did anyone ever test that? I think some people tested burning filament, like how easy is it to inflame the material? I think there was someone testing that. I don't know if it was CNC Kitchen. Was it CNC Kitchen? I don't know. I don't remember. That was definitely a video about that. That was quite an interesting test, or was it the next layer or something? But there was like, I was interested to see that, and it was like every single plastic, of course, at some point starts burning, right? So Nero 3D, he also tested that, I remember. So at some point, every filament starts burning. There is less inflammable materials, but at some point, every single plastic starts burning, right? So it's like, yeah. Unless you start printing metal filament, maybe that's gonna less inflame at some point. Real metal. Twitch crashed. Did it? Let me just check if it's still, stream is still running. Currently have 13 people on YouTube, 17 people on Twitch, which is great. Thank you for being, right? So I'm still here. It's like super late already in Germany and you're still watching me just talking. So what do we do next? The plan is, for sure, we wanna print the rest of the parts for the upcoming week. So we're gonna do all of the top elements for the frame. Next part would be all of the cover elements and the attachment parts where we're gonna that are gonna hold the acrylic panels in place. So all of the mounting elements, all of the parts for the doors, right? So we have some doors, front doors, handles. So all of that stuff needs to be printed still. I guess from the timing perspective, until next week, I can print the upper section of the frame. Realistically, all of the on that single printer, right? We like committed to doing this on this printer for testing it and really putting it to the limit and seeing how this printer comes out at the end. Printing 8 kilogram plus of material. It's going to actually be more than 8 kilogram, if I'm honest. That's going to be definitely probably more like 10 kilogram. And yeah, so next week we're going to have the upper parts finished. If we can, like, trying to figure out if I can speed it up a bit. And then we have all of the decoration elements of this. So you can imagine what needs to be done here. We have all of this here. This is the gray part that we're doing. I'm actually choosing the same colors because I like it a lot. So we have the gray frame parts that still need to happen here for the upper. And then we have all of these covers here going around. Door handles, side panels. I mean, I have not yet decided whether I want to do it, but I think it's great to have this kind of side panel here with a little bit of a mounting collection of mounts, different tool holders and spool holders. So that's something for the next stream, if I'm honest. So next stream is definitely going to be the rest of the frame, and then we have, at least we can already put it over a printer and see, like, get a even better feeling how it will be in terms of the size, right? So what else? Gonna put all of the relevant links down in the description, of course. And resin prints are hard to burn, actually. Do you think? That's interesting. That would be interesting why that is, actually, right? Why is it harder to inflame, at least? Interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, worth testing out, but I'm not so much into like setting up stuff on fire. I almost bought N7, decided to wait and dodge the battery. Note 7, display trying to 48. Leave poor net. What's Note 7? Like, what do you mean with Note 7? What's Note 7? Note 7? Does it have to tell me anything? I'm honest, I don't know what you mean. What is Note 7? Samsung Note 7. Ah, okay. So you spent the money on a smartphone instead. Okay, I see. I see. Yeah. So the ANET A8, it still lives. We have a new sub. Oh my goodness, I missed it. Who subbed? Alt F4. Thank you for the sub with Prime. Thank you a lot. Appreciate that from my heart. It's great to see people supporting me here. Didn't expect that actually, but thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. It's gonna help me. That's gonna help me for sure. So next up is completing the frame, and then we'll see where this takes us. Anything else that you want to know? Yeah, just leave a comment down the video. What I have already here in the basement at least, and I did not have any time to unbox, is the Bamboo A1, because the question came up earlier. Can we fit the Bamboo A1 in this? We'll definitely see that, because that's going to be a separate unboxing and test video on the Bamboo A1. Then we have the Sovol SV08 is already here. Little late, honestly, but I was also not one of the chosen ones to get it as a test version. I have actually spent money on it. So, but I got one of the early, so I got one of the first batches. So I got the actually cheap price, I was pretty lucky. I think I paid only 400 or even lower. I think in euros I paid 389 euros or something. So that was actually great. That was great. I was actually happy because I wanted such a huge printer for a project, and I wasn't sure if it would work out. And I set myself a alarm clock and say I don't want to miss the first batch, and I actually managed to get it. And that was the biggest discount. So let's see if this printer can perform nicely and maybe become a permanent member of the studio or the workshop, because I'm also throwing out, essentially, honestly, I'm throwing out all of the Batslinger printers at the moment. Probably gonna keep one for modifying it, or because I have a couple of things that I still want to apply or test out, but that's probably the last one. Is going to be one of the Ender printers, is going to be maybe as a test device, but all of the other Batslingers are going to be out by the end of the year, because I need to reduce the fleet and get some space. So, but you're going to see that happen, right? So it's going to be part of this whole story here. So I want to say thank you again for watching tonight. Don't have anything more for tonight for you. All I can do for now is wish you a great week. We're gonna meet again next Wednesday, live here on Twitch and YouTube. So enjoy your week and continue printing. Get out your printers, start using them again, even the old ones that you didn't use. Try if they still work. I think it's still worth it. I understand if you're just watching to enjoy this, but get your printers out, print something, and if the printer doesn't work, start fixing it, right? It's such a great hobby. It's so much fun. Have a good one.